Day 32. And so, a little update. So this morning, very productive in terms of writing. I kind of had a writing inspiration. So lots of posts coming up very soon about different things, and I'm excited to share with you what's going to come up. So that's exciting. Yeah, another thing that I wanted to actually talk about today is basically one of the reflections I've had from the past few weeks, which I just shared in my post about codependency. And I wanted to kind of dive into it a little bit deeper in this sense of how easily we beat ourselves up. And so I find that whenever, we go through shit or we go through something, it is very much this battle within us of what should we be doing versus what we are actually doing. And so in terms of my reflection, during the time when I was in fight or flight mode and during time of survival, I stayed in this sense of survival mode, and it was my inner child. It was my inner child being nope, I want to take over the steering wheel, and I'm going to break down. I'm going to throw a tantrum. I'm going to be codependent. And I'm here to tell you that all that is okay. That there's absolutely nothing wrong with how you deal with a situation in the moment. You deal with it how you dealt with it, and that's all good. And so in those moments, even when you are dealing with it, even you tell yourself, oh, I should be dealing with this differently, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Take that step back and take a pause. And just say, okay, you want to take control? You want to take the steering wheel? Say okay to your inner child. It's okay for her to take control. It's okay for her to take the steering wheel at times. Because at times, your inner child, she or he or they feel unsafe. And if that's how they're feeling, and by taking control of the situation will make them feel better in that moment, then let them. And that's what I did. I let her take control until she found herself in a place where she felt safe. And the moment she felt safe, that is when I took a step back. My inner child took a step back, and my higher self came in and started navigating the steering wheel. And I started making decisions based on alignment and making decisions based on what feels right. Seeing things in a different perspective and not being so hard on things, and understanding that each step I'm taking is just a step. But I had to allow my inner child to take control of the steering wheel at one point. I couldn't control that from her. I had to let her have it. I had to surrender to that. I had to surrender to her. I had to surrender to the situation. And that is uncomfortable because I wanted my higher self to come in and be oh, I'm all in alignment and do all the, right steps and right directions. But sometimes it's not like that. And sometimes certain situations, we handle it from a higher self perspective. We tap into in alignment, and we're okay, we understand what's happening, even though we may be getting triggered, and we just kind of evaluate everything and we take the right steps. But then other times, it's a shock. It's a shock to our system because it's a crumble. It's a crumble of our reality. It's a crumble of what we once felt safe doesn't feel safe. And so no matter what situation you are in, if your inner child wants to take the steering wheel and control for a bit, let her. But just the difference is that recognizing that you're letting her do that or letting him do that and that you are still nurturing yourself, and you are still practicing self-care, and you are still loving yourself, because you don't want them, like, your inner child to take over. Hi Thomas, you don't want your inner child to take over just to take over. You want to if you're giving away the steering wheel to your inner child, if you are giving away that power to them to take control of the situation that is currently making you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, you want to be more consciously aware of that. Because if you're consciously aware of that, then that is when your higher self can then later on step in when it is time to. So your inner child can take that step back in the future, and your higher self steps in, and then you start making decisions based on alignment. Whereas if you're letting your inner child just control for the sake of controlling and not recognizing what the lesson is, not recognizing what you are actually going through, or, you're not realizing the difference, then that is just you being in your ego. And so there's a sense of recognition that needs to happen in order to heal, to grow, to recognize what is actually happening in your life and why it's happening. And so kind of wanted to share that, because there is a fine line of, like, when I say, like, let your inner child take the steering wheel, it doesn't mean, oh, just take it and whatever. It means, like, there has to be some conscious awareness, and there has to be some radical, like, responsibility around it, if that makes sense. So let me know if this resonates. I wanted to share this with you because it is important, because so many times we tend to beat ourselves up of how we reacted in a situation, how we are reacting in a situation, and that's not okay. That's not good for us. It is best to practice love and kindness and compassion towards ourselves, because we are human. You are a human being. You are going to fuck up. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to fall down. These things are going to happen. You are going to do something that later on you regret. And that's okay. It's how do you shift after that? What do you do next? How do you feel next? How do you navigate this next step? And so there's a difference. So that is day 32. 365-day live. Let me know if you like this video. Please like, share, comment if it resonates. I'm excited to share with you what it is about to be birthed in my business here on Instagram. So keep you posted. Okay, bye.